back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation.
Talking about my generation. There's the Who way back to the early days in the 60s. Now that's just fun stuff here on Boomer Life as we're talking, well, about retirement communities. So we talk about my generation, huh? Our guests in studio from ShannonOaks, Jillian Fullerton, and from Act Together Moving professional downsizer Patrick Fagan. Always a pleasure to have both of these people on Boomer Life. Jillian, I wanted to come back to something you mentioned just before the last break. You were talking about supportive housing. Mm-hmm. That's the British Columbia government's definition of seniors' communities. They call it supportive housing.
They call it supportive housing, yes, generally.
Okay.
And it's supports that are there to keep individuals independent longer.
Okay.
So they can live independently. The supports are good, nutritious foods, activities that keep them involved, stimulated, whether it's physical activities or mental activities, social activities that keep them engaged. It's also 24-hour emergency response. Mm-hmm. So if they need help anywhere in ShannonOaks, whether it's in the courtyard, whether it's in the sidewalks, walking around outside, whether it's in our underground parking, they press a button and there's somebody there to respond immediately, 24/7. Mm-hmm. That's a 24-hour emergency response. It's also weekly housekeeping. Mm-hmm. So you get your apartment all clean. So you don't have to clean your house anymore. That is what the government calls supportive housing. The supports are there.
Okay, now, well, for those of us, and Patrick, you hear this all the time because you talk to a lot of boomers before you talk to their parents. And here we are out there on the road trying to get it all together, so when we have to have that conversation, we've got our ducks in a row here because that conversation may not be particularly welcome at the other end. So we really need to be organized. And we, I must say, are a little confused. And Jillian, you and I have had this conversation before. It's the terminology, Patrick, and you work with a number of companies across British Columbia, and even within the industry, there are variations on terminology. So let's talk about ShannonOaks, for example, Jillian, is an independent living community in East Vancouver.
Yes, that's correct.
So what does independent living mean?
Independent living means, as supportive housing means that you get your meals, you get your housekeeping, you get 24-hour emergency response, you get an array of activities from physical, mental, social, all sorts of things.
And choices.
And lots of choices.
Right.
And at ShannonOaks, we've got something else, too. We have spiritual development because we are a faith-based organization. So you have Bible studies if you want to go.
Right.
We have chapel service if you want to go. It's all a matter of choice. This keeps our seniors active, engaged, and younger. They are going to be involved. And they can still go out and volunteer at the food bank. They can still go out and, go to their own church or go to their mosque or whatever they would like to do.
Right.
But the point is that they are engaged and they are independent.
Right. So independent living is exactly what it sounds like. Now, here's where it gets a little dodgy. The next category is assisted living.
Yes.
And other companies call it something else. What really, though, is assisted living?
Assisted living can be called enhanced assisted living.
Yeah, that's one of them, yeah.
I mean, it's all sorts of things.
Sure.
I mean, assisted living is assisted living, and that's when you get help with bathing, dressing, your medications. So there's assists that come along to assist you in those matters. And what the government does is there are government-funded assisted living residences, and they will they provide you with all of the care aides and an overseeing nurse to make sure that everything is done properly. And they would assist you maybe putting on those support stockings.
Yes,
they would assist you maybe with dressing.
Or remembering your meds, because a lot of seniors take quite an exotic combination every day.
That's right.
Yeah, and you don't want to mix that up.
Absolutely.
No, definitely not. And so you get in assisted living, you get two prescribed services. They bundle them.
Okay.
So maybe dressing and bathing are in one, and maybe meds and something. So you get two prescribed services. That is assisted living.
Okay.
However, once your care needs increase, so that's more than two, you are asked to move into residential care. also called complex care.
Okay.
We used to years ago call it extended care
Yes.
or intermediate care.
Right.
You know, it's now called complex care or residential care.
Okay.
And that is licensed care. It's licensed. Oh, I should say, I'll backtrack a bit. Assisted living, when the government run, you pay 70% of your taxable income. That's taxable income.
Okay, right.
Not all of your things that you've got invested, but your taxable income. So
Right.
what you earned that year.
Right.
And to a maximum of around $3,600 a month.
Okay.
So you get all that care. So it's a good deal.
So now Clarendon Court is part of ShannonOaks.
Yes.
You talked about this in 50 years on the same piece of real estate. So what is Clarendon Court?
It's assisted living.
So it's assisted living. So
right next door.
even if you're a ShannonOaks resident and your status changes to where you need a little assistance in life, you're not going to have to move very far, are you?
Not at all. And your friends can still come and see you. They're right there. You get the same food. The staff, all the staff is the same.
Right.
So it's just getting a little bit more care.
So now sorry, Patrick.
And there's a fair number of my clients who, following a major hip surgery or something, need to do a few months in assisted living,
and then they can go back to their old life again.
They look forward to either moving back into their home or condo or into independent living. And so it's funny. There's sometimes people just need it for a while.
Right. And now at ShannonOaks and Clarendon Court, you've described 2 of the 3 categories, and the third, as you identified, is now called
residential care or complex care.
And I know that Baptist Housing up in Kelowna has what they call a campus of care, where all 3 types of accommodations, if you will, are available. But at ShannonOaks, it's just the first 2 categories.
That's
right?
correct.
What about Victoria? Same deal?
Victoria, well, there's no campus there as such, but we have the brand new 262-bed in Saanich, a residential facility there. We also have ShannonOaks, which is independent living.
And that's Oak Bay.
And yes, and Marion Village is assisted living right next to it. So you've got different ones, that's on the same campus with ShannonOaks, Victoria. So you do get that continuum of care. However, it's very difficult, especially in Vancouver, to put the property together because of the cost of land in Vancouver.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to have a huge bundle of land in order to do the 3, the independent living, the assisted living, and the complex care on one site. Very difficult now. Some places that you can get it because you've been there for years, but usually you will get independent living with some assisted living.
Thanks for your patience again. As we boomers read it, and we're just trying to do the right thing here, Patrick. You see us all the time, and mostly we're pretty sincere, but just trying to get it right. Yep. But it's a little confusing when the jargon, the industry terminology, can vary from place to place, and all you're trying to do is just keep it so you got 3 categories: independent, assisted, and residential care. That's it, and that's all there is. What about pets and cars?
Certainly, they're welcome. At ShannonOaks, we love pets. We've got an aviary there with little birds that are being born quite often. We've got a fish tank. We've got people with cats and people with dogs. So we welcome pets. Cars, yes, we've got underground parking.
There's a lot of people drive well into their 80s. No big deal.
Oh, sure.
So there's parking and all of that?
Yeah, there's parking, everything like that. So bring it. There's storage. It comes with your rent. We've got, I shouldn't say that, should I, Patrick? Oh, dear. There are storage lockers. I'm sorry.
But that typical apartment-sized storage, you can't put that old dining room set in the basement. Now, can you?
No.
Christmas
or the grand
piano.
piano.
Where do you put the Christmas decorations? There's your storage lockers. That's a unique feature that I don't see at a lot of retirement communities.
True. So. Well, if you do, you're paying $100 a month for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is part of the package at ShannonOaks.
This is part of the package. Yeah.
Our guests are Patrick Fagan from Act Together Moving, and Patrick's website. It's really a wonderful resource. I highly recommend to visit. It's just acttogethermoving.com. And, of course, while you're at the computer, you might want to flip over to ShannonOaks.com as well and click on, your choice, Vancouver or Victoria. Have a look at both.
And call Leo in Victoria.
That's right.
And there's Kirsten Allenberg in Vancouver as well.
All right. And all of those contact points, email addresses, and telephone numbers are right there on the website. And the same for Act Together Moving, Patrick's contacts, and Annie over on Vancouver Island. All of that information's right there on the internet. We'll take a quick break. Lots more still ahead. It's Boomer Life on CIL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.